Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPclub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPclub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPclub.lv today and get a generous 200% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. And make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPclub.lv. Visit VIPclub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPclub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. It's Wednesday, July 26, 2023. A week from now, be August 2nd. How about that? And for a lot of you guys out here watching and listening all around the globe, you're happier than a pig in doo-doo. That means we're that much closer to the pigskin, college kids, NFL, but here on Wednesdays, it's CFL, which I love dearly. I enjoy, I think, year number 3 with Andrew here, talking some CFL, cashing some tickets. Shout out to VIPclub.lv, our new sponsor. Go to the window, use the ECSI promo code, tell them JD sent you, and we'll take good care of you there. Shout out to Ben Cohen, Cade Horton, and Joseph Shea, the men behind the glass, the dream team, the summer of 2023, as they're getting ready to go back to school sooner than later. So one's already on his way back. So safe travels, Cade. Talk to you soon. But today's all about Mr. Andrew McInnis and CFL before he goes on a quick one-day little back to the cottage and have some good times there. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Andrew. How are you?
Doing good. I'm looking forward. I can't believe we're heading into week 8 in the CFL here.
And you know what? I've had the blast of all blasts. You know, I cut the cord with DirecTV, so I have YouTube TV now. So funny quick story is to Dave Sharapan. The wife's in a little tizzy. I'm like, what's wrong? She hands me the remote. The dog chewed the remote to the TV in the bedroom. Now I need sound. I need something to help me fall asleep. So last night I had to fall asleep to Sirius Radio because the TV was stuck on stupid, no remote.
You're on the radio.
I'm on the radio, exactly. And the fact is, you know, I usually catch cable will have the Thursday night game, sometimes the Friday, but we always have the Sunday game on. So I've been lucky. I've been fortunate. We started off strong. We've had a few misfits. Play first half, lose, full game comes in. Play full game, of course, first half comes in. You know the deal.
That's the most frustrating thing. I'm telling you what, be careful of backdoors. This is where the back door starts to open up in the CFL. I don't care that we've had some, first half loss, full game wins, vice versa, Jeff. I'm telling you, this is the time in the CFL where you see some backdoor covers. We'll talk about it in the Saskatchewan-Toronto game. The back door is always open. If you like a team that's a big favorite, I have no issue, no argument on my end looking towards strictly the first half. Because you can't hold a lead as easily like you can in the NFL because of the way the clock works and because of how many downs there are. It's a lot harder to milk the clock in the CFL than it is in the NFL.
100%. And then Sunday, we had already lost our action parlay, but the Calgary spread and then the Calgary money line goes to OT, and we get the touchdown. We don't get the 2-point conversion. Then, of course, here comes the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. Thanks for playing. But hats off to you and the over. I mean, you had it, in the second quarter or something like that. I mean, it sounded like a slot machine at South Point. That's how many points were scored.
I just got to start hitting these small plays. I think I'm committed at this point for the volume I'm putting out. And I think I'm putting down good wagers for the most part. Last week, it did bother me. I'll tell you what, we talked about the fact that CLB didn't matter too much this year. I think I released a late number on BC and they end up winning by the opening number, but not winning on the closing. That's a bit frustrating, but it's always nice to hit the big ones, for someone that has rated plays like how I do, from a 1 to 5 scale. If you're going to have one hitting and one not, I definitely would rather the bigger ones be hitting than the smaller ones. So it was a great way to end that week off, and it's a good week coming up here. So I'm ready to dive into it and cash some tickets.
Let me see here. Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Hamilton at Ottawa. I had an opening number of Ottawa -4 with a 48.5. Seen a little money trickling in on the Ticats, now 3.5 with a 48.5. I know Ottawa. I know they're hot. But my initial thought is I kind of like the dog here. I like the 3.5. I would sprinkle a little pizza and beer money on the money line as well. First instinct would be the way the overs are coming in, the points are scoring would be to the over. Initial thoughts on the game on Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, the instant opener was -5. And so the love came in on the dog here. And then obviously this is where the dust has settled. So I tweeted about this last week, and it's interesting because, Jeff, there's the real openers, then there's the openers that everybody's calling the openers. Like if you go on certain like odd screens, you'll see that they're saying the opener was 3.5 when multiple places had 4.5 or 5, or, it depends on where you're actually looking, but 3.5 is where it has settled. And you and I have spoken about how, for the most part this year, the CLV has not mattered. Actually, in fact, where the money has moved, that doesn't necessarily mean that's been the right side. So I would tell people, I think the number is going to go back up. So I think if anybody likes Ottawa now, get in. If you like Hamilton, I probably would wait until kickoff. But I actually like the under in this game. It was at 49. I think it's 48.5 now. Few reasons why. The main one is this: we have to take a step back and just take a look at the fact that we have 2 third-string quarterbacks playing for each team. It's a third stringer for each team. Last week, Ottawa played Calgary. Jake Mayer throws 2 interceptions in the first half. I believe there was a fumble on the play. There was a bad kick. The kid was set up for success in the first half. I'm not sitting here and saying that he hasn't played well. He led a comeback against Winnipeg. He played well last week against Calgary. But there was a lot of things that went right for Ottawa. This is a team, Jeff, that through, I think, 3 games to start their season off, didn't have a touchdown or a passing touchdown. So am I not adapting, or am I just thinking that, hey, maybe they haven't changed as much as some are talking about? Because as far as overreacting goes in the CFL, Ottawa is getting the most credit I've ever seen them get in 5 years from the media and from blogging websites. So what I saw from Hamilton last week against Toronto wasn't very good. And for reference, Edmonton has had their best week against Toronto. So Toronto might be a good offensive team. They're not great defensively. The fact that Hamilton couldn't do much against Toronto actually says something to me. So it's kind of a plug your nose type wager, hold your breath. But I like the under here.
I can agree. Again, going back, not last week, the week before, where all the overs came in, and then again, people remember what they saw last, and so of course, anyone that wanted to bet CFL last weekend, it was an autoplay to the overs, which didn't come running the window like the week before. And secondly, you were spot on. I fight this every day with whether you're looking at, odd sharks, whether you're looking at pregame, wager talk, whatever. I promote spank odds, and during the fall, what's the real number? I always use Circa as a base when I'm looking at the Vegas Strip. So I see a 5. 18 hours in advance. And then in the morning, I see a 4.5. And then when everyone releases their lines to the public, you're seeing a 3.5,
Yes.
and they're using that as the open line. And I try till I'm blue in the face, guys, that's not the true opening line. That's the opening line they decided to show you. That's not the number.
That's the number they decided to call the opening line after they got crushed 2 points. That's the difference. But I tip my hat to people that jumped on the +5 for Hamilton. Great number. It lasted about 3 hours. I couldn't bet it. I'll be real. I don't get DraftKings where I live, so I couldn't bet that. But I think it's one of those ones, Jeff, where I think it might throw some people off. But this is. I'll put it this way. This is a total based on how many points both teams are allowing, I think, not as much on how much they can score. So Hamilton hasn't really, blown anybody out or put many points up. They've just allowed lots of points. So I'll take the under.
Yeah, the initial thought was like 26-22, 27-22. So again, as we try to preach here, anyone watching and listening week to week here, take a look one step further. Peel that onion back. Go to the actual team totals. Take a look there. Then look at the over. Look at the opening spread, and then go to the number that it is now. That's basic math. On Saturday, 2 games. Saskatchewan at Toronto on a neutral site. Halifax, that you keep preaching about. I'm glad you called a few people out on that earlier this week on Twitter. My opening number, Toronto 10 and a hook, with a 20. Whoa. That's a first half number. Let me backtrack here. 10 and a hook and a 47.5 at Circa right now, 11-48. We know what Toronto can do offensively. Defense is a little sus, but they think on a neutral field it's going to be early and often from Toronto.
Yeah, I agree with it. I'll take the over. 5 of the last 6 meetings have gone over, 3 of the last 4. Historically, these teams always go at it. They trade points. But again, the big question is no Trevor Harris, Mason Fine behind center for Saskatchewan. And this is the thing. I don't watch every single game in the MLB, every NHL game when there's a lot of them. I watch every game in the CFL. If I'm out, I record it. I make sure I'm watching. I'll fast forward through some stuff. Mason Fine didn't look as bad as his numbers might have said he did, Jeff. I think that he actually is going to play well. Lots of yards, lots of great throws, but just no results in the red zone. I believe he can do it against Toronto. The weather's looking good. Looking out the window right now, looking pretty nice here where I am. And I think that just the run game has been so strong for Toronto that they're going to keep Saskatchewan guessing and throw the ball deep a little bit. Biggest thing for me, though, 2 consistent field goal kickers and 2 great punt returners that make for a really good, strong, return game that can really change an over. So I will tell you this, though. I keep on talking about it. These backdoor covers, I think Saskatchewan plus 10.5 might actually be a good bet here for the touchdown Atlantic game, as they're calling it. But if you're playing the total, I like the over. But I might be sitting there in the crowd cheering for the dog plus 10.5 Saskatchewan.
And I'll just sprinkle in my 2 cents. I like the Toronto team total over. I think they like to play a little cat and mouse. They like to keep you interested for a while. But as you said, you talked about the running game. You talked about Chad Kelly. Again, I will be looking at Toronto to score early and often there, as it looks like I might have lost Mr. Andrew. We'll give him a second, see if he comes back on. And we're going to go like this. There you go.
Not sure what happened there. I don't think the laptop was plugged in properly, so it was dead, I guess, when it was charging earlier. We're here. We're here in the studio. We're good.
All right, we'll make this short and painless. The second game at 7:00, BC at Edmonton. I think it's 20 in a row or 21 in a row. Edmonton has lost at home. BC opened up at 8 with a 43, still 8 and a 42.5. This BC team, I got mixed reviews. I didn't buy it. There's the shirt right there. There you go, Andrew. I didn't buy in early, and I went against them against Toronto. I thought I had a good pulse on them. Did like them this past week. Again, the books are an unfair advantage here trying to figure out this Edmonton team. You go with Edmonton, they'll lose by double digits this week. You go against them and they'll backdoor cover here. Currently, no feel for it. Maybe if I was trying to get froggy, I'd look at a BC first half, but kind of curious on your thoughts on this game.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking, I keep on talking about the backdoor covers. I was thinking BC -4.5 might be a good play in the first half. I talk about sometimes a team like with Mason Fine. I talked about how his numbers didn't look great, but I think they could have been better. BC is a team that came out with the win last week, but I think they could have been better. Vernon Adams Jr. goes down. He appears to be doing better than it looked at the time, his injury. But the good thing about good teams, Jeff, is that good teams often have good backups as well. Dane Evans was a starting quarterback for Hamilton at one point. He's a good QB. He loves to throw downfield, just like Vernon Adams Jr. does. And I believe it's going for 21 straight home losses for Edmonton. Their defense, it's rough. And they also I believe they just cut an offensive lineman, pretty much claiming that a lot of the bad play for Taylor Cornelius has been because he hasn't been protected. But I think you could have 7 sumo wrestlers protecting him, and he wouldn't be able to throw a good ball. So I honestly think this number is kind of I think it's insulting towards the BC Lions. You see these big numbers in college football and even in the NFL sometimes, and look at the CFL right now. You look at where these two teams are in the standings. Look at what they bring each week, and you're telling me this is the number that BC gets. Is that a shot towards Dane Evans? Is it the fact that Dominic Rhymes is injured? I'm not very sure, but I thought about pulling the big play on the over like I did last week with Calgary 44.5. This one's 43.5. But I realized to myself, I said, Andrew, if you like the total over, the opening number is -8, 8.5. There's only one team you're hoping that gets you all the points. And after I had that little chat with myself, I said, look, there's the only one question here is first half or full game. And I think -4.5 first half is the play.
And quick math here, the BC in that 24-25 range, Elks at 17. We know the Elks can get stuck on stupid at 13. Will they get that next touchdown? Because if you like Edmonton, I would look at their team total. What is their team total? In other words, quick math, 17 and a hook. So somewhere in there, 18. So if they can get that third score, get to 20, you don't have to sweat the spread or anything, and just get to 20, and you're going to get that team total, and you cash that ticket.
I think that's a great idea, because why would we bet the full game over when we could just take one team?
Yep. So we'll be interesting to see if number 21 in a row at home loses.
I don't think this is the upset. It's so funny, Jeff. FanDuel keeps posting these prices on when will the first home game be. I'm not sure they could post good enough prices. I don't know what the number would have to be for me to even jump in on. people are worrying about them winning a home game this year. How about a game in general this year?
It's called 2024. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Next year.
The game of the week on Sunday, 7 o'clock. I love my Sunday night CFL game, 7 o'clock. Calgary at Montreal, the Ian Cameron special here. I had a Montreal Alouettes at 2.5 with a 47.5, flat 2 and 48. Just first impulse. I like Calgary here on a bounce back situation. It might not be the first half. I think Calgary gets to the window with a win here.
You know, I think I heard someone the other day talking about sometimes season win totals can impact how you feel about a team during the year. That's the only one that I'm looking pretty wrong on so far. If they don't get the rack together, Calgary. And you talked about you don't know if it's gonna be the first half or a full game. That's really the thing, is that the coach keeps preaching about the first half has to be better. The players are talking about it. It hasn't gotten better. So I feel like if I made a first half bet, it would be simply hoping they got the message. But at this point with them, you know, I think and then of course we're talking about a Montreal team that should be well rested coming off a bye week, I believe. They should be feeling comfortable and ready to go. The thing is with me is, you know, I've been watching a lot of that, the QB, the quarterback Netflix documentary, the NFL one, and you look at Kirk Cousins with the Vikings. Imagine if he had a defense behind him, right? That's honestly how I feel with Jake Mayer right now, because even when he turns things around in his games, his team gives up, 14 points in the fourth quarter, and they go to overtime for 2-3 straight weeks. So it's really, really hard, Jeff, to not bet the over in this game, because you really think, disaster is going to ensue again. And the running game hasn't been as strong for Calgary as it was supposed to be going into the year. That they were the number one rushing team. They had multiple players average more than 5 yards a carry last year, and it's not been there, So my gut tells me I got to see it before I believe it with Calgary. I'll leave it at that. I wanted to take Calgary this week, but I need to see it first. What I'm hoping to do is catch a good live number. Montreal scores first or something like that, jump in on them live. As far as the total is concerned, though, I have nowhere else to go but over in this game.
And it's a great point on Calgary. I talk about the OCs. I talk about putting the quarterback into winning positions. And again, you talked about the running game. These guys are not moving forward. They're not moving the sticks on that first down. So again, a sack, an incomplete pass, 2nd and 10 versus 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5, even a 2nd and 7 gives you a little leverage. And they're not moving the line on the first downs, and it's putting them in tough spots. And when they're getting their leads, they're not holding them, and they are getting stuck on stupid with 2 possession leads and back-to-back weeks just blowing them, and it's just disgusting. So we'll see there. Scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone's seen it. They know where to find you at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk. But before you leave, tell everyone what you got for the weekend, and as we get closer to August 1st on Tuesday.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Jeff. Apologies for the tech little problem there, but hey, we stuck around. We're all good. Promo code AM7 is still active. That takes $30 off a 7-day pass. Really looking forward to the CFL slate. Obviously, give a few picks out on the show today, but going to be more invested this week than those plays alone. So we'll be adding to the mix. And for those of you guys that can get down on them, we'll have some props out on Twitter. You can follow me at McInnis Picks, and UFC 291 ready to rock. It's been low volume, but 2-1 last weekend. In the UFC, I got a 4% play being loaded tonight in the UFC late night, and I can't wait. There's a lot of good plays for it. It's an exciting one, and what's nice is that I've kind of avoided some of the bigger fights. I have one of them picked, but other than that, I'm on the kind of the earlier fights. So for those big name fights, Jeff, I'll get a chance to just sit back and relax, and I won't have to sweat anything out.
You cash the prelims and the early fights, and then you enjoy the late fights. So that's smart, by the way, Andrew. That's real smart. let the public and the DGens battle those out. So
Exactly.
go enjoy yourself the next couple days. Tell your better half we said hello. Enjoy the pup. Enjoy the time at the cottage. We'll circle back the wagons in August. Wink, wink. We'll get back up on Wednesday to get everyone set up here for the CFL. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one, the only, Mr. Andrew McInnis and McInnis Picks at Wager Talk. Everyone, thank you. Quick note, Brady Cannon on vacation this week. There'll be no PGA at 6 o'clock. Short slate tonight and tomorrow for the closing bell. So myself and Riley will be back on Friday. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Pops DiBiase live from LA. And then on Friday, Sean Childs and myself will be doing our second fantasy show at 1 o'clock. So everyone, go enjoy yourself. Have some fun. The summer of 2023 continues.